the Dark City Show on Dark City Radio. Welcome to us, one and all, myself included. Ceylon, I can't get it quite right and get my tongue around that eventually, you know what I'm like. Dom, brilliant show again. Lines are open. We've got the telephone line now if you want it. It's all over the chat room, the website. If you're outside the UK, you need to use a 0044 prefix and then 161 298 0298. If you're in the UK, 0161 298 0298. And that'll put you through to us here on Dark City. Or, alternatively, you can add Bob's Backyard. One word, Bob's Backyard, to your Skype connections, and you'll be on air with us. You can ask us them questions live. Well, don't ask me any questions, because, you know, I'm just rubbish at everything. But yeah, guests, hosts and stuff. And Dom's still up on the line. He's gone for a coffee break, you know, get his hair done and stuff. And you know what he's like, he's on in the green room getting his makeup done. I'll tell you anything. So, what a show. Absolutely brilliant and dead topical. The synchronicities of Dark City Radio for me over the last few days. Amazing. Well, weeks. I'm kind of losing my days. They're drifting over into one another. And we've had some brilliant people happening. We've got Vin coming up, right, next Sunday. So you're going to have to kind of tune in early. It's going to be starting about 1 o'clock-ish. Watch the schedule. Dark City schedule on a Sunday is now full. But yeah, there's still plenty of time. Don't let that put you off. But, you know, if you are out there, this is moving. It's moving quicker than we expected. I expected anyway. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. And once again, to all the listeners, yeah, we're going to get joined by Dawn's coming in a little bit late. Well, I don't know whenever she's ready, really, she'll turn up. And it's an open show. That's what it's about. Nettie, hopefully, will be joining us, Prajna and stuff, and the members of the crew. You know, if you're there, let us know. If not, I'll start pulling you in the second hour. Anyway, have I said everything? Website, yeah, Bob's Backyard, Dark City, or darkcity.bobsbackyard.co.uk. And yeah, it's all there. You'll find it. Right, get out of debt free. I said it. I've been saying get out of jail free all day. It's monopoly, isn't it? It really is. I mean, I get the play on words. I've got one. I mentioned this to our listeners and the members of the crew. Rupert was with us yesterday, and Dave and a few others. I'm going through it. The synchronicities. I get a letter yesterday through my door. It's my mortgage account. Right, well, when I woke up some years ago, screaming at Barclays Bank, right, for robbing, just a minute, beep, 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 and they all said I was nuts. I was exonerated, completely and absolutely exonerated, with Barclays giving me back the money and actually paying me, well, we'll call it compensation. And the compensation was actually the same amount as, well, I got £3,000. They gave me £3,000. I changed the HTML on the website I just changed the B's to W's. It really was simple, really. I mean, so it didn't read Barclays Bank any longer. It read Barclays Wank. And anyway, you know, we all have our little ways of going about it. I've had other things, other occurrences, but anyway, I want to stay focused on this little one because we've got get out of debt free, man. I'm really buzzed up that you're here, mate. I get my mortgage payment, account, you know, comes how much I pay me direct debit every month, which I've been doing. Now, when I took these out, I was exempt under the Mental Health Act. I had a carer. I was being under quite heavy medication because that's what used to happen, and it still does, I believe, in many cases. When you wake up and you start talking about these things, people think you've gone crazy, they think you've gone mad, and often the first port of call is, well, the nearest authority being the doctor. And I was under quite a lot of drugs, prescription drugs, which actually virtually destroyed me on every level. Right, so I've got a mortgage. It's been running since 2001, this mortgage, right? There's kind of two parts to it. I've got this home improvement mortgage, which as far as I was concerned, I've paid off years ago. But I haven't. I've hardly paid anything off it. And it only comes to about, I think, what is it, about 24 or 27,000. I'd have to get a bit of paper out of the front room. It's not a lot. But what makes my mind just go ping is I don't want to pay the banks any more money because I'm pretty sure they use that to murder people. All right. Okay, that might be just my mind. I might just be a bit crazy, fine. But to me, this money is being used to covertly have wars in foreign lands to murder my brothers and sisters. That's what they're doing with the money, and I've got an issue with that. Personal issue, I grant you, but I don't want to give people money to murder people. As little as possible. That kind of twings with me. I opens up this. It says to me, Paul Hayden, Mr., and Mrs., I'm not going to mention the name, XXX, all right? Who I believe to be the new name of my remarried ex-wife. Okay? Remarried ex-wife. Nothing to do with me, right? No contract, no name or anything, right? Who's now kind of got a name put on my old mortgage agreement. I ring up the mortgage company and I go, what's going on? And the first person, I didn't get anywhere. So I rang back and I waited for any other, I think it was button 5, I pressed button 5 and this person comes on and I actually just explained my story. Look, this is where I am, this is where I was, that's where I was then when I took out the mortgage. And it was like having a conversation with Dom's sister. She said to me, you were not responsible for the name at the time, you were missold the mortgage. No, she didn't. You were not responsible at the time for the name. You shouldn't have to pay this. I was like, what? Would you like? And then she said, you were not responsible for the name. You were missold the mortgage. My name shouldn't have been on that mortgage. I wasn't mentally, so they say, because of the drugs, I wasn't mentally capable of making such financial decisions at that time. Do you know, when I've looked at them paperwork, or I've looked at that paperwork, knowing what Ceylon, and John have been talking about regarding getting out of these debts, a lot of illegal debts. I don't get all the bigger picture of it, but for me, this is exactly what we all paid them off for. They messed up. The bankers messed up. They've been creating fake accounts and so forth. And they messed up. They invested in some very dodgy stuff, and that stuff collapsed. And us lot, had to pay out. What's weird for me here, right? Just as one everyday working class guy from the north of England, is how come we always end up paying for everything? Do you know? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. Well, cars get stolen. Well, we pay insurance. We pay insurance for that, and crashes and stuff. Why does the insurance always go up? Why does it never come back down? Oil's gone up because of this crisis over here. All right, oil's gone up. Yeah, the price of oil's gone up. So it's gone up at the petrol pump. Do you know, after the crisis, when the price of oil falls, how come the price of the pump never goes down? Tax. It's really simple, really, tax. If they can charge you £100 for something, and the tax on it is 10%, then they make £10. Hey! If you can get it for £10, then they only make £1. So they inflate the price of everything by deflating the currency. Pretty simple to me now. But anyway, we've got him. What do you reckon, pal? What do you actually think about mine? I've got now a mortgage, home improvement mortgage. Now look, I'm not trying to get out of paying it. I borrowed that money, mate. I bought an house, I live in that house, I've got the house. I'm not trying to get out of anything that I owe. But when I've done the calculations, I've already paid for this mortgage. I've had it for 25 years. I've already paid for it.
The first thing I would say is you never borrowed anything in the first place. You actually created the money. So you're not going back on anything. You created the money and then they tricked you into paying it back. It's just a scam trick. It's just on such a big scale that you think it must be real. It's not. It's just the 3 coconut shells, and guess where the P is? That's all it is. You never borrowed anything. You created the money they pretended to lend you to pay for that mortgage. Now, John often says, if you borrowed, say, £100,000, and someone gave you £100,000 in brand new shiny £50 notes, and you went away and you spent them, and you get to the last £50 note, and you're going to spend it, and it starts raining, and you see the ink all runs, and you suddenly realise it's counterfeit money, would you still pay the £100,000 back?
No.
Why not?
Well, it's fake. You got me, man. Do you know, when you were saying that, it's like I'm aware that I'm trying to do the right thing, mate. It's like you're pulling on my heartstrings. I want to do that, and although I've heard you say this, right, I've seen you work, me, mate. I have seen you work. It's never had its impact it's having on me at the moment, because it's personal now, you know.
Yeah.
But it was like I don't want to take away. I don't want to take, you know. So if I've had some, I want to pay it back. I don't, you know. If I borrow £100 off you, mate, you know, even if it is fake currency, you know, built upon debt and the blood of others, right? Even if if I've got to do that, then I've got to give you that back. I've had that off you.
Absolutely, because I mean, even though it's fake money, I've still had to do whatever I had to do to get it, and so I've given it to you, and that is the nearest to real money that we would get, because I'm actually giving you that £100 in the two £50 notes. Now, you would need to give me that back, because I said I'd lent it you to whenever. You said, yeah, okay, no problem. But, however, how many times have you ever borrowed anything off a friend and they've said, oh, by the way, the interest rate's 20%, 17%, 30%, 1,300 and something percent some of these money shops are charging? How often have you been charged interest?
I've always been charged interest because I'm not very good at asking my friends for stuff, so I normally end up going to a bank if I'm stuck. But I've never charged a penny on any of the money I've given away. I don't lend with people money, man. I never have done. But I have kind of given quite a lot away.
Well,
not the way I was the skin.
We're all as wealthy. In fact, we're all wealthier than we're realising. We just haven't figured that part out yet, that we are the only wealth. But it is a guilt trip they've been laying on us for so. Oh, you're in debt. Remember, they used to have debtors' prisons. Oh, you're in debt. When you understand that the system is designed just like Monopoly, so at the end of the day, you're all bankrupt, and it's one at the top that holds all the money. I own all your houses, all your cars, everything, because I've cheated and I actually created the money out of thin air in the first place. I think you might get a few angry lot going up and having a word with him. And when you see it as just a game, it is just a game. They fixed the rates, they fixed the rules, they made sure they can't get done as long as they don't get found out. Well, they're getting found out, and it's becoming blatantly obvious. Here's what, when you were talking earlier, here's the one thing I wanted to say. When you were saying about banks and how they mucked things up by design, I'm hasten to add. If ever you feel bad because you owe money and you've got a bad credit rating, right? Think of it like this. The banks were bailed out for trillions of pounds. Where's their credit history? Because they should certainly be at the very bottom. They owe more than we owe anyone. And yet they're the ones still saying, oh, no. Well, we made the money. Well, yeah, you might have pretended to make the money. But you owe us trillions and you're still charging. The most ridiculous thing was, oh, we're giving this money so the banks will lend more. Well, wait a minute. Banks are supposed to have money in the first place. Why would they need money off us to loan back to us? That seems a bit of an oxymoron there.
It's the emotion, man. They get us, I'm honest. I'm trying to be as honest as I can, and you're dead right. When I actually did it, right back when I took out my first mortgage 25 years ago, it was £14,200 for this house. This house cost £550 to build in 1898. Industrial terraced house, well built, well constructed. It's been reskinned on the outside now by the local authority, who spent £59,000 on doing up a house at the time that was worth about £28,000. It gets me wondering. You see, at that time, the chief rent came up. This is like the rights to charge the rent under my house and the two properties on either side. And it was a pain in the backside. There was a company going round foreclosing on people's houses because they haven't paid it. And it was only a small amount. But what they did is they said, like, we haven't paid this £12 this year for the last 3 years. And then they send you letters at £50 a letter. And eventually they were foreclosing. I actually bought the rights at the cheap rent now. I think it was £111. It's 99 years plus the year that you're on, so as good as a 100-year lease.
Yeah.
And I went round to solicitors saying, I want a letter drawing up, if you would, to my neighbours, just telling them that the chargeable rent now is 0. So I don't want to charge them. I couldn't be bothered. The £12 is for me and the other two houses.
Yeah.
It was like, and it's broke up silly, like £3 something there and £4 and £3 something. So it's just ridiculous. It's not worth the hassle. But what it did is, by me paying the £100, it stopped me getting any hassle for 100 years. I'll be dead. Well, who knows? But the odds are. So, I've safeguarded in the future. I couldn't get a solicitor. They just wouldn't do it. And I went round to him, and eventually and I just said to him, look, man, I've been to loads now. What's the problem here? What is the issue? He said, we start writing letters like that, we'll be out of business. It clicks with you, All right, yeah, in 100 years' time, when somebody comes along and says, well, what was the value of the rent on this rent? It'll come back as 0. And because that's what it is. That's what it's been. There's none being charged, so they can only put it up by a percentage of what was charged. It is a loophole. I don't know if it'll still be there in 100 years, but it's there now. Now, it's what we call loopholes often. On the other side of it, you see, now, that's what I've been trained to see. It's like a loophole to get out of it. But now what I'm seeing is, as me social training starts to collapse, is, hang on a minute, this is not me now trying to get out of something. This is me taking responsibility. I'm not giving up the name. I'm taking full responsibility for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing to do. Even when the ones come on the site and say, well, you've got to use this, you've got to use that. Yeah, you have to use it for the time being. But at the end of the day, you have to change. If you change, you will change everything around you. And by changing everything around you, you will change everything around everyone else. And before you know it, everyone's the same as you and happy. And the system's gone. It can't go on much longer.
Oh, I agree, man. The capitalist system in itself, what is it at the end of the day? Us putting the debt onto our children? I don't want to, if anything, I want to be part of the generation where it stops. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Where we no longer put the pressure on our kids that we've created. And I know our forefathers have done that for us, but let's not push this on to our children. Let's not, And like I say, I'm going to have a go at it, man. I'm going to go to your site. It'll be tomorrow now, But I'll go to your site. I'm going to get the letters, and I'm going to send them to the. You see, look, I haven't got a contract. I generally haven't got a contract. My ex-missus, she used to sort with all that. I'm kind of starting again. I'm going through each one. Recently, you mentioned the electricity companies and stuff when you were speaking with Don. I got Eon. I have them for my electric and my gas, and like I say, I don't mind paying for my service, and it's dawned on me, they're not doing anything. Every single time I've had a bill, it's like every 3 months, I pay by direct debit, and I get like a bill every 3 months. I look at my bill, and I go and I take my meter reading, and I have a look at it. We've got a great service now, actually. You can ring up. You don't have to talk to any of the half-wits on the phone. You just ring up, and there's a machine. And you put in your number, and you tell it it's reading, and it gives you a revised bill. I suggest, if anybody's out there listening, give this a go. Because lo and behold, Eon across the board seemed to charge you roughly double. You know, when I get that bill, every time I've done this, this time I owed them £73, I think it was, and I did the thing, and now they owe me £75. They're doing that all over. Again, man, they're creating a big pool of wealth in mine. You know, they've got loads of money sat in a bank account that belongs to us. I know it's all fiat currency, but, you know, it's happening again. So I'm going to do it, mate. I'm going to take your three, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, please, that you've got the 3-letter, it's a 3-point system, you might say. I'm going to do that. I'm going to follow your system. I'm going to apply it to them and see what happens.
Well, the only thing that you can lose is the fear. They use fear tactics. In fact, the letters are put together using neurolinguistic programming to make you see maximum fear when you see a letter in red. We demand immediate this, and your things are going to be sold, and all sorts of rubbish. I've got loads and loads. I've got piles of them. And when you've challenged them all and you realise that the only power they have is when you give them it and say, yeah, okay. As soon as you stop saying, yes, okay, start saying, no, thanks, then the whole situation changes. Even they change. They don't talk to you the same because they realise that you've realised that the whole thing is a scam and you've faced up to it. But they're never going to tell you that. They'll just change the way they treat you.
I think 2 points there. I get what you're saying. There's a hell of a lot of people living in fear. I've been beaten in a cell with sticks, man. Their casting of words don't scare me. You know that. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I know how far they'll go. You know, so yeah, I'm not scared by letters or even representing myself or not representing myself, refusing to have any kind of contract with them at all. Also, embracing them, I found, really works. Embracing authority. Well, I mean, it doesn't work in the sense that you get to embrace them, but when you actually tell them that you would like to give them a hug to break down, they're terrified. I've never seen so much fear in people's faces in my life. So
they're trained to always be dominant. So you showing love to them is like, oh, well, we're not taught how to deal with this, and they just don't know what to do, and that's it. They just gobsmacked.
I've actually played it the way that everything you do is appreciative. Thank you. Oh, right, that's wonderful. I have actually videoed a few people on the street and stuff. I've done a little bit of activist work in that field, you know. And yeah, if you just keep whatever they say, that'd be lovely. Especially if you've got a camera with you. You know, that's lovely. Thank you very much for the video time. You know, it's like their authority. It just breaks it down. It does crash it. And the point you make about neuro-linguistic programming, you know, what we need to understand here, okay? What we need to understand is that I work for the authority, you understand? And I'm like, is there something wrong with your head? And so I'm quite aware that they use words to try and program us into a position of subservitude. Recently I was with Dom and I had to explain to a PCSO, a real nice guy really, you know, when the authority dropped down, he was a nice bloke, he really was. But I had to explain to him that anyone enforcing their authority on me I considered to be intimidating. He just didn't get it. No, enforcing authority is intimidation. So I do the 3-point plan. I send this off to the mortgage company because genuinely I would like to see the original documentation. I mean, I really would like to see the original documentation. And we have got, hang on, we've got somebody here who's joined us on Skype. I'm just going to bring into the call. Where you gone? There we go. So yeah, I'm going to have a go at it. I really am, mate. I mean, that's what I'm here to do. You know, I'm here to learn and find out, you know, about me and about how I fit in the social position. So yeah, welcome to the call. Do you want to introduce yourself?
1 second, my sound is out.
Well, you're good here. You're good here. If you have got a player, if you have been listening, if you turn off your player, and when you're not speaking, if you can mute your microphone for us, but then don't forget to unmute it. Like me, tonight, I keep jumping in. And although it's good atmosphere for us, it doesn't make good listening for the listeners. Okay, did you have a question? Did you want to? I know you texted me something. Would you like to pose that question?
Yes.
Easy for
Am I there?
You're loud and clear.
Wonderful. Well, basically, when you're talking about the fraudulent contracts, it's one aspect of the energy companies, but they really, there are so many other aspects that we end up paying for. The bad decisions when it comes to nuclear power, the decommission, which is overdue on most nuclear power stations throughout the Western world, at enormous cost, the nuclear waste. And then you've got to look at the angles of how much actual electricity actually hits your house and what your rates are, and what actual percentage is real use of electricity and how much you're paying for that doesn't actually hit your house. And I just think there's so many angles when you look at the exercises of these large, enormous companies. And like you mentioned before with E.ON too, they're guys in an office. They actually don't produce anything.
60% of electricity is lost during transit, but you're still billed for 100%.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it?
And aren't they and correct me here, guys, I'm an amateur here, I really am. Isn't the majority of the energy companies now owned by companies outside the UK?
Well, it's global, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Are we not paying now wages? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a nationalist or anything like that. I'd like to bring down all the borders. I think birds don't have borders. Fish don't pull up at customs. It's ridiculous.
They call it the political map, though, don't they? They actually call it the political map. When you look at the bordered lines and you buy a map or a globe, they actually call it the political map. Politics means in French, talk lies, doesn't it, or something like that?
I'm not sure. My French is not too good.
No, mine neither.
Parliament is talk lies. Parley in French is talk. Ment in Latin, I believe, is lies. So Parliament is talk lies.
I know.
Yes, in Spanish, mentira. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Believer comes from belief, to belief, which is to wish for. To wish for something. So if somebody believes in something, they haven't got it. And they're actually wishing for some event to take place in their future. So it's quite a lot of a play on words. Brought up about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, the casting of words. Letters are made up from hieroglyphs, which were magical symbols in their day. So, that's what they're actually doing. I don't really want to go too far down the rabbit hole with it. But people have. And I'm sure I'm about to go down at least not such a scary rabbit hole nowadays, because there's people like yourselves. I'm waving my hands at you. I know you can't see. There's people like yourselves who are out there, and now I can go into this. It's a little adventure now. It's a little adventure. Hey, come on, why not? What have I got to lose here? My only fear is, and ridiculous, because it's nothing to do with me, that somebody else, and in my case it would be my ex-wife, would end up taking responsibility for that debt. But again, that's just me being manipulated emotionally by this.
If you're divorced and you've got separate bank accounts.
Yes, I'm divorced, man. Yeah.
Then they can't connect it to her now, unless originally you took it out together.
Well, when the mortgage was took out, I was there and my name's on it, but I was exempt under the Mental Health Act. They've told me recently that my name shouldn't even be on that mortgage. I couldn't legally take out a mortgage, so I don't even know why I've got one.
But there are reports of these guys creating mortgages in packages with fraudulent, well, with literally forgers. There's a case with a guy called Raja, who's a forensic document reader in America, rather wonderful. If you can look it up on YouTube, his name is Raja. I don't know the other details, so I can try and find it. But he took to court over the mortgages because they were creating 30 mortgages, and only one of the mortgages within the package, even though the packet was sold as a packet of 30 AAA mortgages, proper mortgages. But the mortgage that they fraudulently worked off originally there was only one real mortgage, but that mortgage was also a poor mortgage. They calculated that was a mortgage due to fail. And if it didn't fail, the most important factor was that all the others would fail because there wasn't anybody to pay a mortgage that didn't exist. And therefore, the money comes back through the credit default swaps because it's insured. And these packages create, therefore, through the insurance, what they call a credit default swap. So you ended up with a administrative process hiring in Florida. When the mortgage crisis was big over there, they were bringing in ex-judges. They were bringing in anybody they could to be there just to stamp through this process. And nobody had time to investigate that when the mortgages were made, it never went to the trustees to check the mortgage. It was directly passed to investors, and they missed out the trustees where it would have been checked and it would have had to go through its normal due process. So you end up with this being covered over, because if you investigate a little bit further in that, it could not have been done without the knowledge of the regulators of the mortgages within the authorities within those areas. So that means everybody's complicit.
Wow, you know your stuff, don't you? Do you want to introduce yourself to the listeners?
Hi. I've been on a couple of radio things because I like to learn. I like to get involved. I'm known as Badger often, Lee, and you can call me anything you like. I don't really mind. It's
good to have you with us, Badger.
Other people do. Other people give me names.
Well, it's great you've called in, Badger, like you've done. You've added me to your, or not me. Of course, I'm Paul. I'm just a guy who's running Bob's Backyard. Most people get used to hearing me, but it won't always be me who answers it. But yeah, it's brilliant. You've actually you've come along, you've found it, and you're here with us. If you are out there listening and you do want to join us, you can add Bob's Backyard, and you'll be put through. It's not difficult to do. Add it to Skype, as Badger's just done. Just say hello. And the reason I say to you, say hello, or say, can I come on? I do get, or the Bob's Backyard ID does get quite a lot of people exchanging contact details with it, who don't necessarily want to ring the show. And I've brought a few people in who do, and a few people who don't. So if you let me know what your intention is, then we'll get on with it. Or alternatively, if you have problems with Skype and you can't do that, and you can get to a landline, especially if you're on one of these local free packages, and you are in the UK, of course, then it's 0161 298 0298. Okay, that's 0161 298 0298, and that'll put you through to us again here live on the show at Darkcity. If again you can't do either of those and you're just listening on the net, you can go to our website. That's www, of course, darkcity.bobsbackyard.co.uk, and there you will see, if you click into the site, first click on the first page and you'll be there on the live page, and you'll see a big yellow banner right at the top, and it says click here to enter chat, and there you will you don't have to put a name in, but you can. It's an anonymous chat, and you'll enter the chat room, which they're there actually now chatting away. Excuse me, I haven't paid much attention to chat, but I'll post my little thing, I've been putting, there you go, there it is in chat, the number to ring. If you are outside the UK, of course, and you want to use the landline, just remove the 0 off the front and add 0044, the international dialing code for the UK. And you'll be in. You'll be in. Robo Hippie's with us. We've got commonly known as Dom. He's going to be coming back in a bit. You know, he's just done a 2-hour show. Guy's pretty busy, but he is kicking around. We've got, say your name, Ceylon. Ceylon.
I've been here the whole time, by the way, Bob.
Oh, he's back. Dom's there with us.
Been here the whole time.
Oh, well, excuse me, mate. You didn't kind of go, hey, I'm here. And I got on a ramble with Ceylon. Rubbish with names. So, yeah, that's Darkcity. Join us if you can. Anybody? Go on. Take it away. Don, we just heard from you. Have you got out, mate? You got a nugget? If you got a nugget, you can take this wherever you want, by the way, gents. That's what it's about, the Darkcity. You know, throw in a topic. Yeah.
Well, it depends what you want tonight. You know what I mean? My Skype list is always full of people that we could drag into a random conversation as usual. And we never know where that could go. It could go, as you know, to, urine therapist crackheads. You know what limits we can go to, absolutely any.
Yeah, well, I'm just bringing seeing if Dawn's there, ready to come in, because Dawn's been doing a little bit of stuff. We've mentioned a few things. But yeah, it's pretty free. It's pretty free. There's no real direction to it. Like I say, the topics I was throwing around, you kind of brought the man in who's kind of gone, here, well done, right?
I'll tell you who I do want to bring in. A guy who goes by, or who is called, Batman.
Oh, you've mentioned this before. Yes, you have.
I'm gonna pop off, see if he's free, and see if I can drag him in.
Okay, mate. We'll carry on. That's what it's about, eh? You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen on the Darkcity show. Dawn, are you there?
If you haven't got any crackheads, I'm here anyway.
At the moment, you never know. You never know. Right. So topics. Do we need a topic? Well, I'm quite happy rolling along with what's being brought up here regarding this. Well, the emotional manipulation of people by banks into. Well, what do we want to call it?
Fraud.
I suppose it is fraud, isn't it? Or at least, you see, with my little tiny head, because I'm pretty simple, and I can manage the no loss, no harm, no deception, no breach of the peace. So when you say fraud, that little deception bell just rings loud in my head there, Badger.
Yeah, sure. I mean, as I said in my note before, you can't trust a suit because you never know what the collar's tied to. And this seems to just simply ring true in all areas. When people put on a suit, they seem to, like these other costume wearers, pull on a different personality, or a different being in themselves, and they forget who they are. It's like a magic spell, like the words.
Definitely. Spell casting, again, we're going back there, aren't we? Come on, where are you leading me here, guys? I can feel the rabbit hole vortex opening up. Yeah, definitely.
John D.
Say again, Badger.
There's John D. John D, who was a very interesting character, who was the spellcaster for Queen Elizabeth I, who apparently brought the Tempest in. But what's interesting about this character, as the right-hand man of Queen Elizabeth, or the left hand, whichever, of Queen Elizabeth I, is that he used to work as a sort of diplomatic politician in those days, and he used to visit different kings and the Pope and so on. But when he used to write back to the Queen his message, he would sign them 007, and she would reply to him with an M.
Huh.
It's amazing.
Do you know when you say
he's a guy who used to work for her when she also had Sir Francis Bacon on the other hand. So it's one of the most powerful parts of our history as far as constructing this world that we've walked into, but it's all magic.
Oh yeah, I mean, somebody said to me about a while ago about I've had a few. I've been on a spiritual trip. I went and did a spiritual trip, pretty cool trip actually. Depends who you come across. Did a lot of work with a guy called John Armitage, who worked pretty much on self-empowerment and self-mastery. And yeah, that helped me a hell of a lot on my way, on my own personal journey here. So yeah, people say about black magic. People say about black magic and white magic.
I think people like you are so inspiring. You, Dom, and John and Ceylon, and I think I've pronounced it properly. There's people like Jeff Lawton from permaculture, and Michael Reynolds with the Earthships. There's immensely inspiring people there. When you look at all the people we've got on TV and they're completely dead, you look at very inspiring people if you search them out.
I've walked around the graveyard of television. Like I say. We've done, according to them, we had 6.1 million viewers. And, when you walk in the graveyard and scream at the dead, don't expect to get an answer. Yeah, because, I realise now I might as well be a double glaze salesman banging on your door at 7 o'clock trying to sell you double glazing while you're sitting down for a meal. Again, and I've said it many times, I'd sooner have 10 or 20. Well, let's get it right. I'd sooner have 100 people listening on the stream. Or 50 people listening on the stream, because we're not talking 10s and 20s, and Darkcity is not even kind of fully up and running.
There was a test a little while ago about how many people it would take to set a wave off in 45,000 people in a stadium, and it only took 8 people.
Yeah, Phil the Thinker, Phil Filmmaker, he's done some stuff. He was quite good. Put me and Dom together actually. And kind of kicked that off of the synchronicities. But yeah, he did some calculations on the critical mass that it would require to actually bring forth change within a population, and it comes down to 0.25%. 0.25%, that's all you need. And that got us looking at, well, hang on a minute. If all the people that are supposed to be in this so-called truth movement are actually working towards a singular aim or goal, then it should have already took place. If the numbers were right, that should have already happened. So it got us to look at, well, where were the numbers? Where are these numbers? And that led us down where we were introduced to the marketing demon himself. The average monthly figures. Oh, we can't be exact. What this is they're not lying. This is the merchandising demons. We've explained it a couple of times, and the easiest way to do that is if you imagine you're a greengrocer and you're looking for advertising on our radio. Now, this is hypothetical because you cannot buy advertising on Darkcity Radio. There isn't any available. There is a lot available, but that's not one of the things you can't purchase anything. But let's say you're there in this hypothetical world and you're saying, oh, well, I'm interested in putting my vegetables on your radio station, Bob. Oh, and I come along and I say yes. Well, our current viewers are 54 people live on air. You'd be like, 54? I'll put a poster in my window. But if I come along to you and say our average monthly figures are 58,000, you're like, what? 58,000? We've got an average monthly viewers of 58,000. Give or take 1,000 or 2. We can't be exact in that because, it does fluctuate. But yeah, and I mean, our average figures for our show time are now topping over 115,000 viewers. Average monthly viewers for Darkcity Radio. Huh? And I only calculated that in the 90s. That's actually gone up. But what they do is they take one viewer, which is half an hour. So if you spend 24 hours on air, you have become 48 viewers. One person becomes 48 viewers, and then they times that by the number of days in the month, and there you go. There's your average monthly figures. It's a fake. That's how you can go on BBC television, get 6.1 million viewers, and you don't even get the crack smoking pea drinker telling you that you're a lunatic. Nothing. You're going to have to get some response at least. I noticed that this was happening in the fringe radio, especially within the truth movements and people within the Freeman movements and so forth, and it was creating complacency. I mean, the the get out of debt free guys. I probably get, what do you reckon? You must get hundreds of thousands of hits a month on your site. I mean, the Darkcity, you do 100 and some thousand hits. Now, a lot of people think when they look at the Darkcity radio that it's had 100,000 hits. It hasn't. And behind that is Bobsbackyard, or what's formerly known as Hydroponics for Life, which creates a stable body of hits on that site all the time. Because aquaponics does work. We did put the information out there quite a while ago. And
yes, it does.
Yeah, man. It works outdoors in England as well, in somebody's backyard. We proved it. And on a larger scale of the maintenance that's required through just changing bell siphons and a few little alterations on the common system, you've got a fully working closed loop system. So yeah, that generates hits, and you know, by us coming together and sharing our ideologies, that creates that mass. I don't think it's going to take that many people. I really do not think it takes that many people. Again,
no, and I got friends, actually, you're talking about the hits, but I got friends who study their hits on YouTube, but it's very, very difficult, and it fluctuates, and it goes up and down, their estimation. So you can see you'll never get a really accurate estimation, or at least it won't be given to you.
Well, yeah.
They hit on their YouTube about 200,000 sometimes, and you know, it's
so we've got 44 people currently live on the stream. Fact.
Yeah.
There you go. I like to smash the illusion from time to time, you know. Yeah, it was up to nearly 100 people, you know. It does fluctuate wildly sometimes, but like I say, we will never have 38,000 people tuning into Darkcity Radio because we can only do 300 in the auditorium. We're free. I'd sooner have 300 people tuning in, streaming that. I don't know how many other streams go out from that. I don't know if we're currently in Pal Talk. If we are Pal Talk, all right, Pal Talk. If we are, you know, if we're being streamed over one of the blog talks, you know, if you're being picked up and listening to this later on YouTube or SoundCloud, hey, it's happened. It's happened already. We're just a catalyst.
Yeah, well,
we're a catalyst.
Max Egan was trying to say that he was trying to see how many people had watched his films. And then he realized that other people were downloading his films, joining them together and putting them up, and they were getting ridiculous hits. So I think everybody's had a problem, but it doesn't matter how many people listen, as long as the message goes out. I pass pods out to people who can't get on the radio. I record them and keep them on my pen or my hard drive and pass it to people who can't tune in, you know, so...
Oh yeah, the bell siphon here. That all I did was drill a few holes in it. That's been copied, stolen, copied, and I'm like, yeah, brilliant. That's exactly what I wanted. Thank you very much. Get it out there. It's great stuff. I got most of my hits in the early day, believe it or not, from a Korean toilet fetish site. Because I explained how a U-siphon worked in a urinal, and how that very system could be used to trigger an ebb and flow system within aquaponics. So yeah, you never know where it's going to end up. That's the wonderful world of the internet. We never know. We don't know. I try to remember that others will be listening. It's a weird world we live in. I'm sat here in a terraced house. I'm speaking to people, some people I've never spoken to. I've never met them. They're delivering me as I listen to this radio, and I mean, I'm like a bit of a prisoner. I'm in the cell room of Darkcity. I'm like a bit of a prisoner here at the moment, but wow, what a wonderful place to be, where this information that I require in my life, I don't know about the listeners, is being delivered to me.
Well, I mean, you know, that's the thing about reaching out, I suppose. It's going to happen.
Well, I'm learning, Badger. I'm learning every day here, I'll tell you. I'm getting amazed. It's like riding a roller coaster. It really is.
I hope your terraced house is warmer than mine.
I fitted a solid fuel burner 18 years ago. Everybody thought I was mad then as well.
Oh, a great thing. I get a rocket stove. I just got a friend to fabricate a rocket stove to a design I liked. And it'll be delivered next week. And he's a wonderful fabricator. And I hope to get this information out so that we can get more of these to people, because it can fit in your kitchen. It can fit in where your fireplace is, but it can also heat up 5 gallons of water constantly. It can also, it's got a, oh, it's amazing. But I've developed the first one with a glass front door in the country. And I'm so excited, and you know, maybe I can come on in the future and tell you about it when I've tested it and worked it and things. But these sort of technologies are coming back in because we need them, and they're practical. And a rocket stove is 10 times more efficient than a wood-burning stove, so you end up with super efficiency, wonderful systems that are low maintenance, low care, and they don't even leave any ash if you run them properly. So. I love these sort of answers to spring back, you know, to these companies. Is look for these solutions, and it's like a lot of friends of mine at the moment, which I'd love to do as well, is get into distilled water and ask the water company, conditionally if you like, if they're actually supplying water, not H2O plus this, plus that, and everything else that's toxic.
Yeah, well, I know the water is being adjusted at the water treatment plants because of the aquaponic stuff that I do, man. The pH will slowly rise up here where I am, up to about 7.2, so there's definitely pH is being brought down chemically. You can't actually bring pH down. Once it starts to rise, it starts to rise. Anyway, we've been joined by, I don't know if Dawn's with us. Prajna's just come in, but if you're there, Prajna, just give us a minute. I don't know if Dawn's sorted out her internet stuff. If she'll be back in a minute. It's okay, I'm looking at text. Prajna, you're giving me great big text messages. You know what I'm like? Get in here, man. Give us your question.
Just that Soul 2 Soul 77 in the chat says, hi, I hope my question will be noticed for the show. But what did they find their popularity rating? How did they find their popularity rating fair after they appeared on the Edge, which is part of the mainstream setup? And have they had any unwanted attention from this appearance? That's the question.
Yes.
Yes. Cool.
Yeah, it took off. We had an increase in the number of hits we were getting, a number of members who were signing up, and also an increase in the number of those that didn't want the information out. So, yeah, we had loads sign up and loads of who we wouldn't want to sign up signing up, just to make sure that in the future they were there just to, you know, pour us and turn us to go the wrong way if they could.
Yeah. COINTEL Pro.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they seem to get their sticky fingers into anything that looks like it's getting attention. You know, Don was talking about this earlier with his pet stalker, Bala Bean. And without giving it too much more energy, these people, they sidle their way in. They start on the periphery of whatever's happening, and they start on the edge, and they get to know someone on the edge, and then they introduce themselves to someone else as so-and-so's friend, and because the other person knows them probably not very well, you know, it all goes on, and before too long they've got a collection of friends, and they've wormed their way right up to whoever's really pushing whatever it is along, and then they start causing mayhem. They split everything up into two teams and set them against each other. You know, they start stories about someone and all kinds of crazy stuff. But then people do this every day in their work in the cafeteria, don't they? You know, we forget this because we're out and we're free. but isn't it so in all cafeterias and all the petty politics, office politics that goes on? You know, if you're working somewhere like down at the Dole office or somewhere like that, there's not all just the stuff, the bullshit that you see standing at the front desk. There's all kinds of politics goes on as well, isn't there?
But the thing is, what you've got to take into account is these trolls, or whatever you want to call them, COINTELPRO, they're only human. Once again, this is not like some ultimate.
Well, they're only
machine.
marginally human, Dom.
Good point. But what Paul recognised when I was round his is, I do tend to poke these trolls every now and again, and when you poke them in a right sort of manner,
they give you a lot of publicity.
Yeah, they spend all day long advertising you, and the amount of people that have come forward from this Bada Bing character and said, "Oh yeah, I heard about you through Bada Bing," and like it's like, well, I don't really want to hear it all day long, but like, I hope you enjoy what you're looking at. And they're like, "Yeah, it's fascinating stuff what you're doing. Yeah, brilliant." So you can actually.
Bada Bing was attacking a friend of mine, and the thing that gave me the clue about where he was coming from, apart from me being educated on the issues he's talking about, was basically he attacked somebody I know. So I responded, and he won't let me on any of his sites because he doesn't want me to put the words up.
Excuse me, gents. Can I, you've got completely the wrong pronunciation. Just let me give you an example. It's actually Baba.
Yeah.
Ding. Okay, just try that. Just try that.
Such a classic example, man. He's such a classic example of this type, and it's good that we can use him as the pinnacle of ridicule in this because he deserves it. He asked for it.
I'm not ridiculing. I'm just giving you the right pronunciation. I mean, I know it's quite difficult, but it's actually Baba. Bing.
Well, the thing is,
I don't know if we want to take Dom. I don't know if we want to take a break or not.
Reminds us as well that we have to have some love and compassion for the man.
Well, this is what anger transmutes to. Is it transmutes to passion, to compassion.
Well, the thing is, like, I've got many trolls, and I like playing with my trolls, to be honest. And in fact, one of my favourite trolls, who has made many videos about me, he also makes many about Charlie Beach. He's actually quit doing it, which I'm pretty gutted. His name's Holographic Sentence on YouTube. He's an oldish guy. He blurs his face out a bit, and he's always having a swig of his Newcastle brown ale. But he is quite comical in his trolling. I do enjoy him because that's what he does. But when you look at people like Bada Bing, when I got involved with this guy,
excuse me, who was that, Dom?
Bada Bing. Oh, Brian Davis, Brian Allen Davis, Mr. Brian Allen Davis, capitalised letters. Well, when I got involved with this character, and he was attacking at the time Lou Collins, Brian Gerrish, Roger Hayes. He was also attacking many other people, but like he wasn't attacking me. Now, somebody else who was supposed to have been a friend of mine said to me, "You should sort that out." And it's like, hang on a minute, why should I? Well, because he's your friend. Look, I know him just as much as I know anybody in this scene. And the thing is, I don't want to cause any problems or get involved in anyone else's problems. I've got enough of my own. Now, when I walked away from this guy's flat, he got pissed off with me because I wouldn't join in the arguments. And then he posted up a picture of me and my daughter. And then Bada Bing, Bada Bing, months later, got hold of it. And then they tried accusing Bada of putting it up. And it's like, no, you're just as sick as him. If you're posting up somebody's child's photos, you're a sick little wrong'un. And then Bada Bing is just fucking deluded to go and use it.
Our whole culture needs to grow up. Our whole culture needs to grow up. We live with limited liability for absolutely everything we do, and we're only just learning that. And as we learn that, we're starting to realise that there's another way around it. And we literally simply have to grow up and take responsibility for who we are.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like you can't. This is the thing. The other night we were having a conversation in a Skype room, and somebody was saying, "Oh, you make me angry." No. You make yourself angry. And this is it. It's you make yourself happy, happiness is a state of mind. So if you're not happy, change your mind.
Sure.
You just bring it to the surface, Dom. The anger was there all along. You just nudge it to the surface.
But when they can see themselves, Osho used to say, if you ever see yourself in the moment, in the height of anger, if you actually see yourself in that moment, then suddenly you just drop all anger. You just become enlightened, just like that.
You start laughing. I start laughing, and I can't take myself seriously anymore. You can't be angry. You can't expect people to be angry at you when you're not actually playing a convincing role. Are you with us, Dawn?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I have arrived.
Wonderful. We I know this is perhaps completely off topic, but we've touched on a few things. One thing that keeps jumping into my head is spirulina. I don't know if any of the rest of you have come across spirulina. It's just one of the things that's been mentioned in chat.
A superfood.
Well, what is spirulina? What is it? For many people, yeah, it's a food substitute. In the West, if you talk to people in America, they'll tell you it's a source of fuel. Some will say it's a bacterial filter for removing CO2 from the atmosphere. Others will tell you it's food. In India and in Africa, you will find out it is the cure for malnutrition. Well, spirulina seems to be a lot of things to many people. But over the last couple of years at least, maybe longer, the project of spirulina, which was reintroduced by a French scientist under grants from certain large governing bodies and United Nations, I do believe, was given grants to set up spirulina closed loop systems which actually ran on human waste and produced medical grade spirulina, which was given to children who were in the stages, the worst stages of malnutrition. Spirulina being 68% vegetable protein, the body can digest it, not unlike meat. So the body needs to get protein, it needs to get it quick. Vegetable protein is much easier for the body to break down. So to Africans, it was the end of starvation, the end of malnutrition.
It's funny, though, isn't it, that we give them the artificial version. We seem to have artificial versions of everything coming out, whereas the original live version, which actually does work, is often ignored because it falls outside of copyright rules. Ceylon might have an
certain strains of these algae have been copyrighted by some certain American.
Only if they're just the molecules, because they're not allowed to copyright a natural being like us. It's the same in. You see, people. I work in various different subjects, and people say, "Well, how can you work in such diverse subjects?" And I say, "Well, they're all the same. You can't copyright a human, so in law it's exactly the same. You can't copyright nature, so it's the same in nature. You know, in natural products.
Copyrighted diseases, and if you catch that disease, you become their lawful property.
Well, they can only copy what they produce.
Well, they've already done that.
Yeah, but they have to therefore admit that they are the producer.
Just sell the copyright.
Guys, there's another question from Soul to Soul in the chat.
Can I just put to Soul in chat? Soul to Soul. There you go. Let's do this. And we'll put that in there. You can call in Bob's Backyard at Skype, or you can ring 0161 298 0298 if you want to join us. Go away you go, Prajna.
Well, Soul to Soul says, hi Prajna, another question if you may, please. Do you think that the 1% are really capable of enslaving us, or is it our fellow slaves who bring those who want to enlighten those consumed by the darkness of ignorance, namely the trolls, because they don't strike me as being part of the elite. Well, certainly they're not part of the elite, and the elite are not all that elite, really. Yeah, the elite, the elite are only elite because they say so, and yes, it's all our fellow slaves, but the biggest slave is the slave that's in our head, the slave that got trained in school and got brought up and influenced by all kinds of beliefs and idiocies and all that kind of thing. That's the main slave that's enslaving us. And that's what we all have to find freedom from before we can.
When you sort of think, it's funny that you asked that question, actually, because I was just sitting here thinking about exactly what it is that causes operatives within the system. I was actually thinking about the police, what causes them, and the courts and all of that to be such brutal, horrible thugs. And the fact is, whenever you have a hierarchical system, you have competition for position within that. And right now, we are the lowest of the low, according to I mean, I'm just reading this article in the Daily Mail, which is all about the welfare reforms and what is actually about to be implemented on the poor of this country by millionaires and billionaires, you know. So what is it that makes the police obey this awful fucking system? And it's because they are as low as we are within it, and having any kind of power, they're an ego. It's just complete ego.
So we have that's Callie. For our listeners, that was Callie speaking there. She's there on the line with Prajna. We have been joined from a phone line. The caller, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, it's Dave. Dave in Inverness here.
Oh, it's a bit broken.
Hiya, Dave.
No. We lost Dave as quickly as we got him there.
Well.
Hang on. Got a button here. Just let me see if I can. Right, try again, Dave, if you're listening. That was good.
Should we all drop out the call so Dave can have a conversation with himself?
Dave could be a whole show on his own, couldn't he? Yeah.
He's a great character, yeah. Great character, Dave. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what. Maybe that was me. I'm not quite sure what happened there. But Dave spoke, and as soon as he spoke, his little blue light came on it, and then his panel went blue, and he cut the call off. So I'm not quite.
Well, he's got a new computer, hasn't he, or operating system or something? So.
Oh no, it's something on the server because it was the phone, I think.
Yeah, he came in. Yeah, definitely came in through the server. Anyway, please continue. I didn't mean to. I think Badger was trying to make a point there, or Dawn, or Ty, or.
Well, I would like to just say that to answer that thing, what makes the police do what they do, or anybody else really, and it all comes back to schooling. And if I've done a lot of research with John Taylor Gatto and Sir Ken Robinson, and they're wonderful. And you know, you can find a hell of a lot of information about the basics and the Prussian model for schooling that we repeat everywhere. And it's a way of, you know, you've got somebody in the class that you take the mick out of. You've got somebody in the class who's the star. You've got all these makeups, and these makeups are designed in a classroom, which continue in our culture. And usually the prefects end up as policemen or forces and army. It's people who like the authority, who feel comfortable with being an authoritative figure. But there are many policemen out there who just do it because they're bored. I know people who've taken the police exam to go and do it because they weren't sure what they were going to do, and they just thought they'd do something. And at the moment, there's a big influx of military being drafted into the police as they cut the numbers. So they have a very different understanding as well, and are actually, on the whole, a little bit more reasonable than policemen off the street.
Well, most ex-servicemen I know of, so yeah, that may well be the case.
But it's the control, it's the schooling. We're just schooled. We're educated
and it's the culture. It's the culture of the organization itself. People forget that these organizations are a being of their own. You know, they have the same psychiatric problems that ordinary human beings have. They become beings that have needs and drives, and in the same way that you're actually made up of thousands of hundreds of thousands of different organisms all fit together to, you know, you wouldn't exist without having all these extra things that aren't you. They're not your DNA, but they're part of you. And in the same way, you become part of an organization and you start to suffer from the illnesses that it suffers from.
Can I just point out there before we go off? Badger mentioning there is a video on YouTube, changing the educational paradigm. Which if you want to have that a look, if you're not in education, pass that link to a teacher. I've done this myself on a couple of times, directly and indirectly, and it does start to sweep the change through.
That means that's 7 minutes long, that one. The other one to match with it that I normally give as an introduction into this area is a John Taylor Gatto, which is called Reasons for Schooling. And if you match both of those up, I can try and find the links afterwards and post them off, but they are extremely powerful. And in 17 minutes, you can pass to any parent who will fully understand, if they listen to it, the entire history of Prussian schooling and why we damn arts, and I'm a sculptor, why we damn arts and these sort of things as nothing.
Badger. I don't actually see that as being intentional. I see it as being 200 years out of date. But I don't see that as being intentional. I mean, I'm right with the explanation of it. You know, that was a system set up by the Victorians while they were in the heart of the Industrial Revolution. You know, what else would we expect? Let's not now look back with the 200 odd years of experience we have of the schooling system, because that's what it is. It's not an educational system, and it does only serve 85% of the populace. You know, let's not beat on our Victorian brothers and sisters for actually conceptualising education at the point of presence. That's what they conceptualised. Okay, it may have been hijacked and turned into schooling. But, you know, what a brilliant idea. If you want education, you turn up and you are educated. You know, schools have got to change in the way they're doing it. They're going to have to. And I sincerely hope that they do start to look at divergent thinking in people, and then I can truly be a rock star. Because I'm a divergent thinker, so yes, I'm going to support that. I can definitely get more than 200 things out of a paperclip.
There is another one by by Sir Ken Robinson as well, and he explains the woman who created cats, and about her history, and her parents were worried about her at school. And they took her into a doctor's surgery, and he had a look at her and then said to the parents that we should go and have a chat. And he left her in the room with the radio on, and the radio kept playing, and she tapped away and danced. And of course she was having problems at school because she was fidgeting all the time. And the doctor took the parent, looked through the window and said, "Look, she's dancing. She's a dancer." They took her to dance school. She's one of the most successful in our country. And these days they would have just stuck her on ADH drugs, which is
and the inventor of the wheel, the inventor of the steam engine, the combustion engine, all these things which were divergently thought. They're different. They do change. I mean, the analogy, I suppose, is like us going at war with horses. We're going to go and destroy all the horses because we've got motor cars. You know, oh well, look, we've got trains now. Let's go and smash all the cars up. We've got to change it. I've said it many times. You know, we have to change the basis of these things. But it's coming. We're here doing this, and our positions have been created by that very system of not serving 85% of the populace. Education doesn't serve, doesn't serve them. We're beginning to see that, and even the hierarchy. Ken, what was he called, Badger, again?
Ken Robinson, Sir Ken Robinson.
I don't call him Sir. He's Ken Robinson. He's Ken Robinson. But hey, you're right. He's got that weight for those people who are in that hierarchy. And if you listen to Ken Robinson, I'm sure you'll agree. He is he's like one of us, but he's got one of their badges on, commonly known as Dom. Have you just?
The last half hour is going to be shook up. I've just added Batman.
I'm just bringing him in for you, pal.
Uh-huh.
There you go now.
What's happening?
Hey, Batman. How you doing?
Anyone I can, brother.
That's the Batman.
A dog.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we only have the most famous people on here.
I used to listen to your podcasts.
Used to.
Yeah. I got busy.
Yeah.
Oh, is he butthurt now? Hi, Batman.
Greetings.
Hi,
Yeah,
Batman.
don't know if you caught any of the show tonight, Batman.
I think I was too busy.
Yeah, because I was just talking to you a minute ago, and you said your Skype has been playing up and everything, but you sound loud and clear at the moment.
That's good. Yeah, it was doing something weird, but it seems to be hanging in there now.
Well, tonight we've been talking about debt solutions and remedies from the guys from getoutofdebtfree.org. And then we just moved on to this group chat where there's a few of us just bouncing off each other.
Yeah. Cool. So, did you find a silver bullet yet, or what?
I haven't even found a werewolf, let alone a silver bullet.
But if I got it, it would probably clear all the disease in me.
You might want to leave that werewolf alone until you find that silver bullet.
That might be the mistake I'm making. Well, the thing is, what I like about Batman is he's harsh, and he will stick to what he knows and what he believes, and he's we've fallen out in the past, haven't we, Batman?
What evidence do you have of that?
All right, I've fallen out, and it is me. It's I remember one of the first times I talked to you, and I was going in and out of court, and I was using free-man processes and things like that at the time, and I've got to admit, you was right. You don't make any claims.
When was I right? How was I right? I was just asking you, does it make sense what you was doing? And I told you what I would do, but does that make me right?
But at the time,
making claims. See how you are?
Yeah, I'm always making claims. I'm guilty of that.
Shut up. I'll let you go. I like the flowers anyway.
Hi, Batman. He's hyper.
Coffee.
Guys, another question. Soul to Soul's got a lot of lovely questions tonight. Here's another one. Hi, Prajna. How do you and the guests deal with apathy? As it's bad not to know, but not what to know is worse. The way I'd answer this, Soul to Soul, is I would say that you can't change anyone else. It's impossible. And whatever you do to try and change anyone else is only going to make it worse. But as you change, the whole world around you changes.
But there's a funny thing in water. There was a test done with 3 jars of water with rice being loved in one, being hated in another, being ignored in another one. The ignored one was the one that had the deep, deep rot, not the hated one. And so when you come to apathy and apathetic people, I think they cause much more harm than they realize because they're ignoring the situation.
Yeah. They suffer a great deal.
Go on, Batman. Let Batman have his go.
I believe the best way to deal with it is not apathy, But if people want to talk with you, ask them why the fuck you're doing what you're doing. I'd like to know. Maybe I want to do it.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Get them thinking.
Anybody else want to answer the apathy question? Okay, I'll put my 2 cents in then. Personally, I like to take apathy, a little garlic, butter, salt and pepper, and put it on a slow roast for about an hour, maybe 45 minutes, depending on the size of the apathy you've managed to get hold of. I find focusing on apathy, counting in my head, repetitively over and over and over, and focusing on my breath. After about 45 minutes to an hour, you will find your apathy is now well done and can be consumed harmoniously.
Sounds like a plan.
Recipes and all.
Yeah, I mean, I have been told. I have been told if you come across a really big problem of apathy, then garlic. Chili. The hottest possible chili you can use. That works really well. It really does. So yeah, what do we do about it? I've noticed that often it's being created. Apathy is created. I mentioned before about numbers and stuff. Don't want to get into that too much again. But yeah, sometimes it does feel like you're screaming against a wall.
Isn't it because
at the end of the day, without the viewers or the listeners, without the other people gathering together, you are just one person. You're just one individual, one man or one woman, and you're shouting at the world. When we gather together, and I'm going to coin my own little phrase actually now. I'm just a drop. I'm a mere drop of water. That's all I am, a mere drop. But once I hit the ocean, I am unstoppable. So yeah, how do we deal with apathy? Slow barbecue, bit of meditation, and do your best you can possibly do to stay focused on yourself and know that each one of us makes a little bit of a difference every moment.
But apathy in others around you, you see people that are so in their comfort zone, even if they're not that comfortable, if they look at themselves in reality. But it's the comfort zone. They worry about what their family thinks of them. They worry about, what their friends are going to think of them if they make, an honest, logical choice in their life, and it'll be ridiculed. People are apathetic as an excuse to avoid in most of the views that I see, and it's because they would like to stay in the comfort zone. It's all the people that are looking for these remedies right now to freedom that are showing a very scary example to these people. They're afraid of this. They're afraid of walking up against authority. There's immense fear. But then on the other side, they see the comfort zone of their family and their belief systems and what political party they did every year, and they don't have to think about it. They just have to go with the flow and just try and do. And there's a lot of people honestly just trying to make the best out of their lives, but most of them are apathetic because of the comfort zone, I believe.
The problem people got is they believe in fear. Evidence appearing real. They need to get over and start asking what is reality and what really means the most in life. If there is such a thing as life, who knows? It all could be an illusion. The thing is that I find you're going to get what you put out, and whether people are apathetic or not, when it comes to what you're doing, could that very well be irrelevant?
Compared to what? Well,
yeah, of course. Everything in that view, Batman, would be either very relevant or completely irrelevant. Yeah, but again, man, that to me, that's just it's another demand. We're not actually being given a free. We're not being given a free choice,
Oh, come on! You can choose a happy thought and be in La La Land at this very moment. Or you could choose to look at everything and listen to all the bitching and everybody saying, how they're getting screwed by everybody else, and be in hell. I mean, it's the choice you make at the moment. Think about it. If you're at peace with yourself, who gives a shit what everybody else is talking about?
Yeah, but there are physical
I don't
pressures.
disagree. I don't disagree with you there, Batman. The point I was trying to make is most people are actually defending a demand. You're going to be this or the other. They're not actually making a choice. They're actually defending a position that is a position that they were put in under demand.
Well, that's when you ask them why. That's when you start asking them, well, why are you doing that? And gee, how would you feel if somebody come up and started doing that to you? I mean, help me here. I'd like to know how to deal with this situation honorably. Got any suggestions?
Hold your ground.
Well, what's there to hold?
Well, the position, wherever you may be, where you are occupying. You know,
right there. Think about what I was just saying and asking. Did that take a position, or did it just ask the individual why they're doing what they're doing?
I get you. You're questioning the position. The interrogator then turns, once the drama's broken, becomes the questioner. And that's what you're doing. You're questioning their actions. You're getting them to look at what they're doing. To me, that's a powerful. It's a powerful juju, man. It's powerful magic.
Yeah, the thing of it is what's wait a minute. The thing of it is what's the intent behind the questions? That's where the heart of it is, you ask me. If the intent when you're dealing with another individual is truly honorable and wanting the best for everybody, you're going to see it work. But if you're just questioning somebody to spin them around, make them look like a moron, well, they're going to start treating you like a moron. See, it's a double-edged sword, brother. Something to consider.
Oh no, I'm right with you, man. I mean,
I think we're actually all pretty awake people in this conversation. We all kind of know where we are and how to recognise the humanity in others, and that's where we come from. So
I don't.
That's where we interact with people.
Who knows where we come from? As far as I can tell now, the more information I get, we're on some rock and something. I think somebody called the Milky Way or something once, and heck, I mean, anybody got a freaking clue what we're doing? We're floating around in so-called space and a freaking universe that the more we look at it, the more infinite it becomes. I mean, does anybody really know what time it is? Huh? Good old Chicago, too.
All I know for sure, Batman, I'm talking to you in the Darkcity and I'm enjoying it, bro.
Cool. What?
Yeah, time depends on where you are and how fast you're going, really.
Well, that could could time depend on whether one believes.
Sorry, I find we've cut each other off. I find that when you look at this sort of issue, it does always depend. Your positivity and what you're doing and the strength depends on many factors. I mean, we've got a starting block that was given to us, and we're set in a situation that was given to us by somebody else's making. For a start.
How do you know that?
Because I didn't build this house I'm living in.
Well, if you didn't, who did? Could it be it always was and always will be? It's just here.
No.
Oh, so you need somebody to blame all this on, huh?
I kind of go with the fact that I didn't build the house that I'm living in, but I've took responsibility for that house.
Why?
Oh, well, I think we should all have an opportunity to build our house, and the people that can't build their houses would have other people within the community that could help them, and that's what old law in the past have had. In fact, old English law, old British law, and Scottish law, that's what they did. They gave you 5 acres per family, and there you go.
Yeah, but who are they to give you anything? I mean,
well. It was just to give you because you fitted into the community, like you're given your orders to register in this particular era. But in the old days, you'd have been given a parcel of land to work on.
I know what they would have gave me. The boot. Anyway.
Well, you've got some land somewhere that somebody else has got. So somebody else has got your land for you.
No, the thing of it is, what's anybody's own? Unless you're using it at the moment, I mean, what's the big deal?
That's why I used the word. That's why I used the word occupy.
Well, occupy means take by military force.
No, I am in occupation. Yeah, and you can turn that around. I am here in this house now. I did not build this house, but I am taking responsibility. I'm looking after it.
It's important. It's important that occupy as a definition means take by military force. That's what gave the police an excuse to come in and use counter military force at any point. They wanted.
No, hang on a minute. Just 1 second. I am not a police. I'm not a policeman, and I'm not a military force.
Back up.
So yeah, go on, Batman.
Back up. Occupy is a claim. All right. Why make any claims? Other than if I said anything, you got a problem. I've been here using this place. Where was you when I moved in? I mean, who's the one bringing the claim here? And yeah, take care of it, whatever. Keep it nice. Whatever you enjoy, do it. I like having a junkyard out on the corner, so I'm told. And it's still there. Even after the codes enforcement, they thought it was a junkyard. But it's funny. It's been over 3 years now, I think, or at least 2. And I have yet to see him again. I mean, what's the big deal? See? I'd love to help you, brother. It's thing of occupy. Well, that puts the hairs back up on the dogs of war's neck, man. That's why they ask you. Are you occupant, a tenant, a homeowner? Making claims? I like to say I was led to believe I'm a peaceful inhabitant. You guys know how to deal with one of those?
With one of what? Sorry, Batman?
I like to tell them I believe I'm a peaceful inhabitant. You know how to deal with one of those?
What are you inhabiting?
I asked one cop, look up the Lieber Code. You ever read that yet? No. I said, well, I suggest you should.
Well, that's personal. I'm not a person. You can't talk to me like that.
Oh, prove it.
You just did.
How'd you figure?
I don't. Do I?
Well, then why are you making statements?
Am I making statements?
Oh, back up, brother.
Questions, am I not?
Yeah, catching on. He's catching on.
I'm singing. I'm Matthew, son of David.
Yeah.
And I'm Levi.
Where's David? I want to ask him.
What's the shortest distance between 2 points? I command you, answer me.
You do, huh?
Uh-huh.
Well, when you get a hold of you...
right now, aren't I not?
When you get a hold of you, maybe he'll answer you.
I'm not you. You is 2 J's mirrored. And I'm not Jay. I'm not I. I'm not none of that stuff. I'm not even myself. I don't even trust any of this stuff. What's going on? I don't know. That's the statement.
Could you help me out here?
I can. I'd love to.
When's the last time you had a psych eval?
A psych eval? Would you like to order me one?
Psychiatric evaluation.
Are you stating for and on the record right now that you'd like to offer me a psych evaluation? Because I have full acceptance of those kind of offers.
What are you, deaf?
Psychology's a fraud, guys.
I asked the last time you had a psych eval.
Last time I had a psych eval, I don't know who I am anymore, but the name that there's association with and some sort of an in-corpse or aided account, I have an issue with the nature of that, and I don't want to give any dates because I'm not Roman anymore. I won't even tell you any times because those things don't make any sense. All that makes sense is night and day. That's it. And is it daytime or night?
It's funny with this psychological sort of angle because to be ill physically, you've got it's obvious. You're ill. To be ill mentally, it always takes 2 people. Isn't that funny?
Exactly. Yes. And also, it doesn't matter if I'm ill, does it? Because it's actually illness is not the problem. The dis-ease that we have is not really the problem. The problem is when we are going to be a threat to ourselves or others, and should they that call themselves coppers, which are just a metal, it's electric in nature. If they actually make claims that we are doing that, then that's a lie because we're not. We're just sick. And that's okay. I don't mean you can call me crazy. You can call me schizophrenic. You can call me anything. You can call me any name that you can make up. I don't even mind change the definition.
I think you're quite sane, actually. Yeah.
Can I just say welcome to the show, Max?
Thank you very much, my friend Dom.
The thing of it is...
I wish I was so cool like you.
Pardon?
The thing of it is, it's getting totally off point here, I believe.
Are we?
Brilliant divergent thinking, man.
Somebody identify the point.
One at once, if we can. Nobody will be able to hear what's being said. So go on, Prajna. I think you had a point, and then we'll let Max have his say. Love the divergent thinking, Max. Go on, Prajna.
I was only saying that the whole point of the show is that there isn't a point as such, so we can't really stick to the point. So it's
bit pointless, really. Isn't it?
Good point.
Thank you for the invite.
See, there is a point. You just made it.
Could
Within
the point
the
be?
diversity.
Could the point be?
It's a great film with Ringo Starr, The Point. It's a wonderful cartoon film in the old days. Absolutely wonderful if you look it up on Google Vids or whatever. Yeah, The Point. It's a wonderful. It's Harry Nilsson, isn't it? It's Harry Nilsson does the soundtrack to it. It's
Ringo Starr does.
The guy who wrote Midnight Cowboy and One is the loneliest place you will ever be.
It's a pedophile.
Yeah.
There's a question there for.
That was a claim.
Batman.
Did somebody say he was a pedophile?
I just did.
Just hang on. Go on, Dawn.
Soul to Soul 77 says in the chat, this question is for Batman. Does he think that we are here by chance or that there could be a greater source of our consciousness?
What would the idea of that? Is a
question. It's a question for Batman. Go on, Batman.
Question. When he gets, or they get the answer, would they be so kind to let me know? That the point I was trying to get back to when I asked the question, it went on to all kinds of other stuff, is the point of it is, really all it's coming down to is, are you at peace or are you at war?
We're at peace, we moved on. Max, do you want to look at that question? Do you want to answer it?
What was the question?
And what was the question? Do you think there's a greater source of consciousness?
I do. I think they commonly referred to as ID, a thing that they kind of tried to say is better than the ego or superego in a way, so that we're stuck in this intelligent design ID, and they want my entity that is an intelligent design. I didn't design this. I can't design this. I can't even make babies. I can't even create a new document.
You have no identity.
Just hang on. There was a lot of passion, but let Max finish and then go on, Max.
Yeah, well, the thing is I don't want to make any more claims because I don't really want to do business. I'm not on the sea, even though the sovereign, which is the Mother Earth, happens to be indivisible, and the ID, intelligent design, that used to be the firmament and all the whatnot and how things actually work, whereas now we got it all kind of messed up because we're a beehive. So we all got this thing working in a different direction, unfortunately. Maybe that time has something to do with it. This is just theories, of course. I'm not making any claims. I just wanted to say, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't even know anything for sure, but you guys asked me to talk, I think.
I love the book. Badger, did you want to add?
Well, when you look,
the question is, do you think could there be a greater source to consciousness?
Well, I think that we are that great source, and I can't see it can be any other way. And there's one thing that influenced me is when I get into an art frenzy. I'm a sculptor, and a book influenced me by Ben Ockery called The Famished Road. And as Africans in a traditional village, it's won the Booker Prize. It's from Kenya, I think. Is that they look at people, but they don't look at people as themselves. They actually see the spirit or the animal spirit that they become. And in this book, it was beautifully expressive. But when he's talking about the spirit child coming into the planet, I thought it was a wonderful way of looking at it, that there was a choice made. You know, that we don't remember as we're born, but there was a choice made to come down for some reason, or to come into this version of this movie we're in. I just thought it was wonderful that side, because we do live in a world that's very hard to fathom, and when you get into meditation or other systems, you realize how much more there is out there, and as you wake up to the fallacies of the system that you're brought in to, it's another way where it's a Pandora's box. It's like learning something, like Batman said. You learn something, you go all the way, you learn more, and then you realize you're the one that knows less than anybody else. But they come to you because you've been down the road. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. If I take the we's and the you's out, yeah. I was right with you, man. I do
and a
get
few
that.
as well.
Again?
A few as well. I seem to a lot.
It's okay. That's fine. And does anybody else want to address this question on is there a greater consciousness?
Have
Go on,
you come
Callie.
across a guy called Amit Goswami? He's a quantum physicist who talks about non-local consciousness. What is it? Bottom-up causation and non-local consciousness. Absolutely fascinating and scientific.
Put it this way: if there is any such thing as a God, then you cannot be in any way separate from it. So
Sure.
it's rather daft.
Possible.
It's rather daft to be looking out there for it when God, by definition, is omnipresent. Is he not?
Is it
whatever
not?
it is,
Yeah.
is everywhere.
It's
So
existence,
obviously, it's
and if
it's
you're
right
in
here.
existence, then
Yeah.
you are, and that's
You are it.
the whole sum total of it. You are. Get on with it.
Again,
Make better choices.
my two.
There's no outside consciousness. Put it that way. There's just beingness, consciousness. Same thing.
Yeah, the presence in the moment. Where
Can I
does
speak to that?
Doesn't mean thinkingness.
Where does that intention come from? I suspect my presence in this moment, therefore I no longer require the intention. Max, did you want to add?
I would love to add to that if you guys wouldn't mind. I've been discovering quite a bit lately about about reflections, reflective. What is reflective, like the sun off the moon, especially when the earth is in between, there's no reflection. So the nature of some fractions in mathematics that the kids have been teaching me is that there is a presence that we probably don't want in our lives, which is the absence of mercy and forgiveness and love and a few other things. Some people call it Jesus. That's what you want. You can call it whatever you want. I think it's just a name. That name that I just used right there with the J, not a U, not two J's back to forth. Like in Spanish, there's a big issue with that letter because it's Jorge instead of George, even though that's G's instead of J's. There's something going on with the language. I'm not sure exactly what, but there's like the same sort of thing as what I just mentioned about the sun and the moon, and perfection, having to do with the I think what you were saying there about how everything is one. Yeah, sure, it's one, but it's definitely not three. Okay, like this Holy Trinity garbage. That we'll just call him the evil witch over there at Vatican City. What he's doing with the death certificate of that guy who was killed for no reason. He was killed for being a king of some people that said that he was the king of them. Like, and it was authorized with 2 signatures, probably on ram skin or something weird. I don't understand. But the middle of those 3 places where they got those 3 certificates is the Bermuda Triangle. I think I could be wrong.
Well, 3 and triangle do tend to go together, and pyramid, and Illuminati, but notice that you don't have to be under those spells.
Hey, Max,
Yeah.
I bet
You can talk about this stuff without being under the spell of it.
The thing of it, I bet Max can make a good omelet. Anyway.
This is your brain on drugs?
An apathy omelette.
A good omelet, man.
That was random.
Sounds like he can scramble things real good.
I can unscramble things too, I think.
If you can't dazzle him with bullshit, or how's it go? If you can't dazzle him with brilliance, baffle him with bullshit, right?
That's what Dom taught me.
Me?
That's not my weed. How could that be my weed, sir? You're holding it.
Did you just blame me for that, Max?
I did, my friend. That's a claim, my friend.
Hang on. How did I just get dragged in?
Hey, is that a claim? Is that your name, Dom? Who are you?
It's what I call 2.
Okay. 2, what you call 2, which is V, which is peace, which is 11, which is 5.
Why believes. Dom?
This is all number magic.
I'm alive. Yeah, I'm alive. I'd be alive right now. I'd be living.
Yeah.
You arguing with me being alive? Is that a problem, officer?
I don't think anyone's arguing with anyone, are they?
I don't think so.
It's not like a couple of scouts.
He flinched after he said that, you know. Sorry.
Right. Well, I don't know who actually proposed the question now of the consciousness question. Is there a greater consciousness? It's
soul to soul.
Someone from the chat.
What do you think?
Soul to soul 77.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of passion, but when we all chip in at once, the listener just doesn't get any of us. And I really like that there's a amount of passion. I don't want to stop it. I'm like, whoa, keep going, but so yeah, Soul from chat. That's been really cool. Really cool. Thanks with some good questions put in via Prajna and then by Dawn. So good stuff. Really good stuff. Yeah, Max. Yeah, I love it. I love the divergent thinking. I love the way you put things, man. It's it's inspiring, man. I like that. Batman, brilliant, man. I love the attitude. You've got me all loved up, brothers and sisters. I'm all loved up. So yeah, great stuff. We've only got a few minutes before the end of the Darkcity show. If any of you want to plug whatever you're doing out there in the world, websites, yourselves, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I want to plug something.
Yeah.
I want everybody to come to peace. That way Batman can retire.
Yeah,
we all want to retire. That's what we want to do. This is the thing. We're not going to focus on the fight. We're going to focus on what we want next, which is all the peace and getting on together and reforming community and living happy ever after.
Learning how to produce for our own needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, good. That's what we're doing. That's what we've been doing this evening. Max.
Oh, me next?
Yeah, and Dawn's right behind you.
Okay, sorry for taking up everybody's time here, but I have who wants free money?
Free money.
No
free money. I'm going to throw some free money at you, and you can accept it or you cannot accept it, okay?
No, I've been trying to give it up, mate.
Money is worthless, at least.
Well, this here is not worthless. This is worth 1 hour of my good friend Tommy Usury Free Kennedy's time. 1 hour of his time is equivalent to 13 Canadian funds, or whatever the heck that means. He's got this little winged lion on there so that everybody believes in it, because, frankly, the only reason we use the currency is because it's got Judah and a unicorn on there, but we all know that a unicorn now is a rhinoceros, and we cannot invent these phallic symbols anymore for people. So what we do is we come in the name of... No, I get in a lot of trouble when I say Jesus, okay? And I don't like getting in trouble. But I like silver and gold, just like in... I also like cigarettes and tobacco and marijuana. So...
A bit of smack now and then.
That's it. No, I don't do drugs, actually. I only do things that are or like natural substances, things that can't be criminalized or decriminalized. That's why here in Canada they have a real big issue with, it's not mine, it's personal. So, right, it's not mine, it's personal. Either way, if you come in this name here, you'll get a lot of respect because a lot of people have read the King James, the only non-copywritten book on the entire planet, which is absolutely, everything's a remix of that. So would you accept this? In the name of what? In the name of the Bride of Christ. Not in the name of my friend Tommy, because this is kind of worthless to you guys over there. He can't really, it'll take him a while to get there to give you the hour. So the thing is, this will transfer like pretty much immediately. You could, this I consider silver at this point. There's another thing called gold nuggets, which is the idea of, transferable discount on, so you could transfer this with that, but I think this is kind of exclusive. So IOU, we all know what that means, right? And E is X. So times, so IOU for change. So if we could multiply change by IOU this much, just in the name of the Bride of Christ, because it's from the book of Revelations, it makes us all a family. It makes me a brother with every other brother there. And even, because I got this here, you can call me a sister too, I don't mind. It doesn't bother me because I'm gay. I'm married. I'm married to a man who died a long time ago. I'm not really gay. I'm not into sodomy. I'm not into pedophilia either. And all this sun worship that ended on the 21st of December or whatever the date is that they want to call it. There's a lot
pretty
of people,
boring to me. It was.
I bet. But the thing is, it's free money and stopping pedophilia all at the same time, just in the name of, I like this guy here, me personally, because I don't like being in the dark, because all men are afraid of one thing, and that's the dark. All women are afraid of one thing, and that's men. And all the dark is afraid of women. So we need the women to actually be a part of this. Even more importantly,
all the men and all the women are all afraid of each other, and oh fucking hell, what are we gonna do now?
Wow.
Anyway, let me put it.
Where do you find all this stuff out?
We're trying to round.
I like them.
We're trying to round up here. Dawn, did you have?
Deeper.
Yeah. Well, everybody's welcome back, Prajna. Everybody's welcome back. You're all welcome back on the Dark City. We're trying to round the show. Dawn.
This is Dawn, and this was a Dark City radio show. Have a nice evening, everybody.
You too.
You have a nice voice, Dawn.
we had a show planned, didn't we, Dawn? But hey, we can ad lib, can't we?
Yeah, it kind of didn't happen. So
I am Ty. Ceylon. Dom, do you want to get a word in?
Yeah, no problems. I'm going to have Max on for a full show on Wednesday anyway. Might even get Batman on with him. It could be electric. But we've got many more interesting conversations and chats coming up. But I just want to leave it on the thing about consciousness. If we're all having this physical experience, then where do our emotions come from?
Yeah. Thoughts occur, I was told. Think about it.
Hey, yeah,
Where
good
do your
point.
thoughts come from?
Great
Even
point.
more interesting.
Come on, you know you are if you haven't spoken. Rest of you, come on, let them speak.
Well, I'd like to say that if we really want to get back to realizing who we are and level ourselves psychologically, physically, I think the key is more grounding and more connection to nature and using nature as a teacher, just like in permaculture.
Sure, you'll be back with us, Badger. Great stuff, man. Totally agree. Grounding. Ty?
I'm overwhelmed. Thank you very much again, people. This has been amazing. Nice to meet you, Batman. Nice to meet you, Max. Very interesting. Badger, brilliant. Ceylon. Amazing work you've done there. Really shared it. I hope it helps a lot of people out. But everybody, well done. Brilliant. And that goes to me as well.
Nice one, Robo. Ceylon. I'm going to go for Ceylon. Excellent stuff, man. I've got to agree. I'm going to use it myself.
And Dawn. I missed somebody out. There's a lot of people in the room. And Prajna. Just had to include everybody. Oh. Him.
I love you too, Jim.
And Dom as well. I know you're special.
He's trying to make out you special now, Dom. Yeah, he's making a claim. That was the Dark City, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. Please become part of the show and call in. It's your radio. What more can I say? Thank you very much indeed. Join us again.